A warm welcome back to your latest industry news, and in today's proceedings, there's focus on boom Supersonic, Qantas returning to an important city in Europe, and developments surrounding WestJet. Let's begin with the Canadian company that, in deja vu, is continuing to expand its single-aisle fleet network by announcing plans to grow its 737 MAX fleet to include 2 additional aircraft. The Canadian airline has secured deals for 2 more of the 737-8s from Aviation Capital Group and High Ridge Aviation. They will, obviously, with some quick maths there, provide 1 unit each. WestJet expects the 737 MAX jets secured as part of this arrangement to be integrated sometime in 2024, and this also comes just weeks after a previous announcement. Earlier in this month, you may recall the airline secured 3 additional 737 MAX 8s from BOC Aviation and another thanks to Air Dragon. At the beginning of the calendar year, the airline also announced further contracts for the MAX family. Ultimately, all these contracts can get a little bit confusing, especially when they are only for a few units at a time, but they will enable WestJet to offer greater connectivity across their route network. Meanwhile, it'll just allow them to offer more flights, and therefore they will be able to meet increased demand that they're seeing across key markets. Furthermore, the airline says that while the aircraft will quickly benefit the company's network from the moment they arrive, they will not immediately reflect WestJet's interior cabin experience. Something to remember, as the carrier notes these will come with a different interior, but don't worry, they'll be updated and refreshed as soon as possible after the delivery. You'd imagine, though, the main priority is to just get these aircraft operational so they're able to benefit the airline's route network, rather than, say, take all that time to get them up to date without actually deploying them when they need them. Obviously, there will still be a focus on creating the onboard experience that customers are known to enjoy. WestJet's ambitions have remained the same for some time, to offer Canadians affordable air travel in a market that is so hard to do so. Now, to do all of this, more planes are needing to be required, and WestJet knows that if it ordered aircraft directly from the source, say Boeing with their 737 MAXs, it would not be able to obtain them as soon as they would actually need them. So therefore, the agreements that I've touched on, not just in this video now, but also in previous ones across 2024, are very important for them. WestJet has been utilizing the 737 MAX for some time now, and bar difficulties we've seen at the beginning of this decade, its improved efficiency and specs do mean it benefits the company for the long term, and therefore they've looked to adopt these quicker and quicker. And obviously, it's clear that their joy for the plane is present because they keep going in for more and more to really see their network reap the full rewards of this next generation aircraft. Moving to the other side of the world, and Qantas, who officially resumed seasonal flights to Rome in Italy with their 787 Dreamliner. Service to Rome will operate thrice weekly from Australia's west coast of Perth and is a returning city, as in previous years we've also seen the airline fly to Rome, but again, it's seasonal. Perth has really acted as a gateway for non-stop flights to Europe, this all being achieved thanks to the 787's capabilities. In 2023, Qantas said that linking Perth and Rome on a non-stop flight has fantastic benefits, such as boosting the company's diversity of the routes it offers. Furthermore, for Australians and/or Italians, it provides a great avenue to connect the two countries that have seen such high level of migration throughout the decades. For Western Australians, while the service helps support local jobs, including a focus on the tourism sector, which should benefit greatly thanks to this market being reached once more for the summer season over in Europe. Rome joining the airline's network for the busy summer schedule actually comes just weeks before Qantas is slated to commence scheduled service to Paris Charles de Gaulle. Flights to Paris will begin just in time for the 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games, with a July 12 launch and 4 weekly flights to be offered. The Australian flag carrier has been considering expanding into Europe for some time. However, restrictions around available aircraft, when you also pair that with long-standing but now seemingly resolved difficulties with Perth Airport, this all prevented expansion from occurring maybe when the airline would have liked. All these recent changes that I have discussed, though, will enable the airline to offer more than 75,000 additional seats every year to and from Europe. Qantas has recently actually faced increased competition from several European carriers for services, especially following the global pandemic. Then you have Middle Eastern companies, such as Qatar Airways and the always ambitious Emirates, have increased their frequencies into major Australian cities. And in the case of Qatar Airways, well, they want to increase them even more, offering a greater pathway to Europe thanks to their extensive network that far exceeds that of Qantas. You've also got the recent addition of Turkish Airlines offering services to Istanbul, which have increased their presence and are looking at only growing. Qantas has struggled to respond in the same manner, and therefore has faced competition from every front. Through several recent aircraft purchases for new wide-bodies, Qantas hopes to be ready by the 2030s. However, it must also emphasize replacement efforts across its fleet as it looks to farewell several aging wide-bodies. While Qantas will never necessarily completely disappear, it needs to be wary of not falling behind in too many markets, as more and more North American companies, for instance, such as United, increase their presence in Australia. Let's move over to the final story, and Boom Supersonic returns to the channel for what feels like the first time in a while. They're hoping again to return supersonic flight to our aviation world, and they've actually completed construction of their Superfactory. The factory, which is named Superfactory, will be home to the next generation of air travel in the prospective Overture. Overture is the designated name of your full-scale supersonic aircraft expected to fly with passengers truly in the next decade. Boom began construction at the beginning of 2023 with the breaking ground. At this point, the company said it planned to build the Overture from 2024 onwards, with an entry into service by 2029. Located in Greensboro, North Carolina, the Overture Superfactory has become the first factory built for supersonic aircraft in the US. No shock there, but it is a title the company is parading and proud of. The first assembly line will be able to produce up to 33 Overture aircraft per year, which will be valued at over USD 6 billion. Furthermore, they do have plans to actually expand the final assembly line. Boom says that when the timing is optimal, it can manually scale up the production of Overture to 66 jets by opening a second assembly line. The campus, as it's more generally being labelled, will also be home to a state-of-the-art delivery centre, where current customers of United, American and Japan Airlines will be able to receive their next generation and high-speed Overture jets officially. The governor of North Carolina, Roy Cooper, says that the Superfactory's location is important in helping Boom progress in its targets. The Superfactory will inject much-needed money into the North Carolinian economy. Over the next 20 years, USD 32 billion will be invested, creating 2,400 jobs. However, this is if Boom Supersonic can make it to the stage where they're producing aircraft. Unfortunately, there is still a lot of concern about Boom Supersonic's long-term viability, from funding to the business case for such a form of travel. At the 2023 edition of the Paris Air Show, Boom Supersonic announced many announcements, and with the Farnborough Air Show coming up this year, we definitely will be on edge to see what they announce. They've now got their XB1 in the skies, and they're progressing, but there is much concern about what is next. That's going to conclude today's aviation recap. Thank you very much for the support here on the channel. It is certainly appreciated. Take care, be safe. I'll see you tomorrow for your latest aviation news.
And we'll fly.